So our topic at hand today, we are continuing our OEM-specific ADAS training, and this week it is Volvo that we're going to discuss. Seems to be they use a very similar setup across their brand, right across the different models, and that's just kind of been par for the course as far as I can recall. It's just they would always have pretty much the same engine, same transmission, that sort of thing. Very, very simple, not a lot of different components, right? They've also have historically been known as a very safe manufacturer. So having the ADAS in the vehicle just helps to make it that much more safe, I suppose. So first vehicle we're going to talk about is a 2021 XC60. So this one has 5 cameras. It has the surround view there for the 360 plus the lane keep camera up in the mirror. It's got 3 radar. It's got 1 in the front for adaptive cruise, 2 in the back for blind spot monitor. And it has 12 ultrasonic sensors. So it has park assist and also parking space detection because it can help you with the parallel parking situation. So it has 12, 6 in front, 6 in the rear. So front camera, as usual, is mounted up in the windshield, upper part of the windshield, just like pretty much any other car. And that's kind of a blowout of that. That is going to be part of what they call the Active Safety Domain Master in Volvo. So that covers a few things in the active safety. So of course we have codes and data. We'll go into functional tests and special functions, and you see there is a radar and camera calibration combo in there. So active safety domain master needs to be calibrated only if one of the following has been fulfilled. So if a new modules or new hardware has been installed, either the camera or the radar, control module has been removed and reinstalled in a different position, or a code for a missing calibration has been set. So not necessarily all that often. Calibration of radar and cameras performed by starting respective calibration procedure and driving the vehicle. So it is a dynamic calibration. When the calibration is started, the text message is shown on the dash. When the message disappears, the calibration is finished. And then they give you instructions on how to drive it, at least 60 kilometers an hour, preferably above 80. Lower the speed, the longer it's going to take. Keep the vehicle at constant speed. 10 car lengths with the vehicle ahead of you, that might be tough, but drive in the lane closest to fixed objects like guardrails and signs. So the time the calibration takes depends on how well the above conditions are followed. Should take about 5 to 15 minutes, but can take longer depending on driving conditions. And then you would go in there and it says, yep, now we are in calibration mode, and then you would drive the vehicle under those conditions. There's also a radar module that is associated with that, right? So that is, it's a combo calibration, like I said, but the radar on that's going to be in the front behind the emblem on the grille. There's also an interior radar on this vehicle, so that is for people detection, right? To see if there's people in the seats and so on. So we saw that back with Tesla as well, that they were using radar in there. So something Volvo is doing as well. Rear radar mounts to the bumper there in the back corners of the bumpers. You can see the mounts. And for that would be side object detection, left and right. So we'll go into functional tests, special functions, lock or unlock the side radar, or reset them to factory default when you need it. So the lock or unlock is a side obstacle module left and the side obstacle module right are automatically locked to the side of the vehicle where they're mounted. The locking positions are checked at the beginning of each driving cycle. The locking position needs to be reconfigured if one or more of the following criteria are fulfilled. Codes that indicate the wrong locking position are active, or they've been mounted on one side of the vehicle and we move to the other side of the vehicle. I don't know, swapping sides for some reason. They must be identical, but I don't know. I guess if that's the case, maybe if you disassemble it, reassemble it, and forgot which one was on what side, I suppose that's a possibility. If they're moved from one side of the vehicle to the other, it needs to be unlocked after it's reinstalled. It will then automatically lock to the side where it's mounted. They have different software. If one is moved, it needs to be reloaded with the correct software. So they don't actually work interchangeably. They do have different software. If a new one is installed, it will automatically lock to the side it's mounted on. Good to know. So we have unlock or lock. In this case, it's unlock both sides, and then the other one was lock. And, goes through, and it does its thing. It's a software thing, I guess. Next one's the rear camera. So a rear camera is actually part of the parking assistance camera, is what the module that's in. So we have functional tests there, special functions, and the camera view. So a routine activates the camera view for the parking assistance camera. Parking assistance camera displays the image on the center console display. The image includes the part of the bumper as well as the tow bar if it exists. It'll be also activated when the vehicle's in reverse and the correct settings are made in the center console display. So this is to force the display on in case you need it for, diagnostic purposes. So activate and deactivate, on or off. Camera view activated. Would you like to deactivate it now or exit? So you just exit. 360 camera. They even have a picture of their fancy video box that's kind of in the back of the vehicle as well. So there's 6 individual plugs that go in there. And this is actually not under the ADAS category. This is under the wide angle vision module down here a little ways. That's actually under steering and chassis. The functional tests, special functions, calibration of the park assist cameras. Set the vehicle to active, so basically turn it on. Wide angle vision module, that's a big word, concatenates the video from 4 parking assistance cameras using the visual park assist 360 view or in the center console display. Control module is a built-in online calibration procedure, refining that word. Good calibration has smooth transitions between the different cameras' field of view. Calibration procedure is by default disabled but needs to be enabled if DTC for missing calibration is set or if the module has been replaced. Calibration may also be needed after replacing a camera itself. Online calibration does not have the same potential as factory calibration and is therefore important that this calibration is only started as a visual check confirms that the calibration is needed. So I continue. And then you could enable calibration, check the calibration status, and then the driving instructions to drive it. And they will give you the driving instructions once you enable it as well. So now enabling will start the next time the vehicle is driven. The calibration can either be completed by driving the vehicle according to the preconditions below, or the vehicle can be returned to the owner for finishing the calibration. Calibration status can only be displayed on a diagnostic tool. So I would say, to be nice to your customer, you'd probably want to do this before you give it back to them, right? And then there's your different stuff. May vary between 5 to 20 minutes. So 5 to 45 kilometers an hour, between 7 and 15 kilometers an hour. So it's actually, they want you to go kind of slow there. All right, and then the park assist sensors don't have anything related to them scan tool wise. Next one's a 2019 XC90. So this one also has 5 cameras, lane keep and a 360 view. Also has 3 radar, adaptive cruise and blind spot monitor, and 12 ultrasonic sensors for park assist and parking space detection as well. Now, I did notice in this one, looking through the information, and they don't have the best, they don't release a large amount of information from Volvo for some reason. They always kept it close to their chest. But according to what I can tell, anyways, based on the information that I have, is the radar and the camera are all in one unit. So that must be the radar and then the camera's right there. As far as I can tell, that's how it works. And then it is they made a change in like 2020, so that's why the 19 you see that. Active safety domain master once again on that. Functional test, special functions, radar and camera. It's going to be pretty much the same thing, just on this different car. I think there might be slightly different wording on the screen. Yeah. So it can be formed any time of day or night, but should be avoided in heavy rain, snowfall, fog, wet roads at night, dark roads without visible or narrow road lines, and radar calibration, heavy rain and snowfall. And then it tells you how to drive the vehicle again, at least 10 car lengths, and then it runs. Same deal. Rear camera, which kind of plugs into the rear there, and that is once again on the park assist camera. Functional tests, special functions, and then that does the turns the camera on again, just like the other car did. It's an activate and deactivate function. And rear radar slips into a little bracket there on the inside of the bumper. And that would be side object detection left or right. Functional tests again, special functions. And this one actually has calibration for the side object detection instead of the lock and unlock feature. Removes the current calibration from the side object detection control module left and right and restarts a new calibration. So you can see how they kind of changed the procedure over the years. So this is a little bit different. The other one was just basically in a lock and unlock and it learns itself. When the calibration is started, blind spot information system LEDs will illuminate in each side mirror. Calibration is complete when the 2 LEDs go out. Finish calibration, the vehicle must be driven down the road. So you need to take it on a little road test again. Park assists, nothing scan tool related in there. All right, now last vehicle is a 2019 S60. So this one, once again, very similar to all the others. 5 cameras, lane keep and 360 view, 3 radars, adaptive cruise and blind spot monitor, and then 12 ultrasonic sensors, 6 in the front, 6 in the back for park assist and parking space detection. Now in this case, the front camera is kind of the that all-in-one model again, just like the last one, because that's kind of like the older model. Like I said, they made that change in 2020, I believe. So there's the whole assembly there, and you can see the mirrors there. So kind of the whole flat front points out. That makes me believe it's a radar. So that's active safety and a main master again on that one. 360 cameras. Here's one of the ones in the mirror. That has a similar calibration to the other ones, a wide angle vision module on that one. Then we have the rear radar. That one is the side object detections on either side, and that one's going to be very similar to the other 2019 we had, where it does the calibration. You have to drive the vehicle. And then, of course, the park sensor is not has nothing necessary for that to be reprogrammed or anything, or reset or relearn or recalibrate it. Now, I do want you to note, every single one of these vehicles falls under this category as well. But pretty much starting in 2016, Volvo started having their models use Ethernet protocols, so DOIP, Diagnostics over IP address. So if you have a fairly recent Snap-on tool, it's already built in on the board. You don't need to worry about it. But any of these tools right here, so D8s, Modus Edge, Modus Ultra, Solus Legend, Solus Edge, Ethos Edge, P1000, those all need this special cable in order to communicate with Ethernet vehicles. There's a part number right there. It's got this big like plastic thing in there, and that's kind of how you know that that's what that cable is for, because the regular cable does not have that. And then, like I said, on the newer ones with the notched cable, like the D9s and the D9, D10, Solus Plus, Apollo Plus, those tools and newer don't need it because it's already built in on the board. And then the if you have a Zeus or Veris Edge without the black scan module, you need a black scan module. So they originally came with red ones, and that's kind of how you can tell the difference on that. We're up to number 10, I think, scan module. And then of course the Triton, the wireless Triton, uses that module too, so you wouldn't need to worry about that. All right, let's go live and take a look at a few things on these vehicles here. So let's pull them up. First one's the XC60. And we'll go in here. And it's under my ADAS right here, active safety domain. So functional tests, see we have the radar and camera calibration that we talked about earlier. Puts it in calibration mode, then you drive it. Side object detection. So left is usually the master on most of them. So lock or unlock and then reset. Let's see what we got for data on that. Alignment angle and whether or not it's calibrated or not. Easy enough. Guess you probably don't need much with that anyways. On the park assist camera, that has data too. Voltage and temperature. Simple enough. And then that one was the pack camera view, turns on the monitor. And then further down here under steering and chassis, we see the wide angle vision module. And that has the calibrating the park assist cameras there. Let's go take a look in guided component. Oh wait, no, we're not going to have those. I'm not new. Let's just go look in here real quick. Like I said, there's not a ton of information that they release on it, but there is information in here. Just sometimes it's not terribly intuitive how they lay it out. So see, this is under ADAS. They have it listed under brake controls, combined instrument sensors and warning systems, electrical equipment, media communication, and navigation. So that's all the ADAS stuff. And then you go in here, and then it gives you some lists. So active safety domain master, diagnostic information, built-in diagnostic system. So it's going to spit out codes. Installation instructions and accessories, park assists, electrical equipment, heads-up display, rain sensor, cleaning the windshield, There we go. So here's all the modules on the vehicle. So some of them are ADAS, some of them are not. Like I said, it's a little not as intuitive the way that they have their information laid out. So active safety domain master is there. Let's see. Park assist camera, front rear side, park assist sensors, rain and light sensor, side object detection module. So let's see, 2020 through 22. Removal and installation. There's a module right there. Let's see where it pops out of the thing. So, like I said, not a ton of well-organized information, anyways. They do give you enough to work on it, but that's about it. They've always been pretty stingy with information. I remember it took us forever to get them in the scan tool because they just weren't forthcoming with the information. So. But we ended up having the Vantage Pro being the factory tool for them. So I guess it worked out. So once again, it's going to be very similar on this one since the years are very close and the modules are going to be pretty close. They're going to be pretty much the same thing. And like I said, no targets on this. It's just a drive it, set it, and drive it. So we're going to set it to this, then hit continue. It executes. And then we would drive it. So it says you must be driving it. And that's it. Put it into learn mode and drive it. Very easy. All right, and then it should be the same for the S60. Very non-confusing, at least when you're doing this stuff. These seem like a pretty easy one to do. Some of them you have to get out the whole rig and put up the banners and the targets and all that other stuff. So yeah, it's going to be the same thing here. Active safety domain, park assist camera, and then down here will be the wide angle vision module for the 360 camera. So as long as you know where to find it, makes it easy enough. And like I said, it appears that it's pretty much mostly dynamic. Didn't find anything that needed a target at the time, so looks pretty straightforward. So once again, I usually say at the end of these, if there is a brand that you want to get your feet wet on, this might not be a bad one. Some other manufacturers where you need like 20 different targets, it's not that great to start on. Maybe that's a next step, right? So Volvo seems to be pretty easy when it comes to ADAS, and that is ADAS on Volvo. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about next week. Next week continues our all new classes. This is an all new class that we're watching right now, and we'll have 6 weeks of new classes that'll bring us through into the new year. So next week is right before Christmas, if you're watching it live. Get the most out of your Snap-on scan tool. So we're going to teach you tips and tricks about some things you might not necessarily be aware of on your scan tool. We actually asked the folks on social media if there was anything they wanted to know, and I'm going to be integrating that in as well. So if you want to catch that next week, every Tuesday, as always, is 6 to 9 Eastern. If you go to snapon.com/OT, you can join us on Zoom. Otherwise, the 6 p.m. Eastern class goes live to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Snap-on Diagnostics. Scan that QR code, it'll bring you right there and subscribe you automatically. So if you want to check us out over there, or 9 p.m. Eastern is going to our Facebook page. So Snap-on Diagnostics, product and training. If you want to see any of the other episodes in this series, we got 126 now, 127. This is episode 127. Anywhere from intro to ADAS through EVAP system diagnosis and everything in between that we've talked about over the past 5 or so years. All available on the YouTube channel. Once again, youtube.com/Snap-on Diagnostics. And there is a playlist for live training there. Next thing, do we have your email address? If we don't have your email address, you're maybe missing out on some good technical content. So things like technical focus articles, SureTrack blogs, quick tips, new product releases, things of that nature. Here's an example of a technical focus article on diagnosing a stretched timing chain. So if we don't have your email address and you're not getting these emails, scan this QR code, and that will bring you to a form that you can fill out, and you can start getting those valuable. All right, next is questions time. And like I said at the top, if you were here, I am traveling this week, so this is a pre-recorded session. If you do have a question, feel free to reach out on Zoom through email. Just reply to the confirmation email you got that goes to our marketing email account. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment. Facebook, leave a comment, and I will get to those as I can. So with that, That is Volvo ADAS. Hopefully you'll join me next week to learn how to get the most out of your Snap-on scan tool. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend. Have a nice night and take care.